What's on, people? It's Mr. Back again with the previous show. I hope everyone's fit and well. And as you know, Nottingham Forest are playing Hull tomorrow. And so far, so good. The game is on. As you know, there's been loads of games have been called off. But so far, so good. The game is still on. So, people, tomorrow, big game for Nottingham Forest after a fantastic 4-1 win at Swansea. And another big game. Let's see it grand. But this time, we've got Hull, and I've got a special guest. I've got a Hull fan, Ant. How you doing, Ant?
I'm all right, mate. Are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm buzzing after Swansea's win. But actually, people, like I said, I've got Anton. He's going to talk about Hull, how the season is. And like I said, it's going to be like a 20-minute, 25-minute show. So like I said, people, get in the comments below what your score predictions is going to be in. And actually, if you are new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button, like as well. So, Ant, let's start. Like I said, Forest play Hull tomorrow. And we're going to start with, like last season, like Hull. It was a League One, but you got promoted. Was it hard in League One?
Well, it's weird actually because we started really well and finished really well. The middle of the season was a bit dodgy. With the problem we had in the league last season is that we tended to. I think we had about 4 or 5 more games played than any of the teams around us that were in the promotion race. Yeah. So we were sat at like the top of the table. But the teams below us could quite easily overtake us, points wise, if results went their way in them 5-6 games or something. But no, we did well. We did really well, considering the negativity around the club, the awful run we had in the Championship the last time out to get relegated, and sticking with McCann. It's an interesting one to think that maybe if the fans were in the stadium, he wouldn't have lasted as long. Maybe not having fans in the stadium probably did him a favour. We had to lose quite a few players, but we recruited well. We got likes of Richie Smallwood, who is experienced as a bit of a leader. We signed Greg Dockett, he was a phenomenal player. You've
got Tom Huddleston as well, haven't
you? We signed Tom Huddleston this season. We didn't have him last season. Okay. Last season we relied quite a bit on the youth. We brought the likes of Keane Lewis Potter through and Jacob Greaves, and they've sort of stepped up a level. And George Honeyman was the catalyst really last season for us. He's been phenomenal, and then he's carried that into this season and proven some of the doubters wrong. So to win our first title in 55 odd years, it was a phenomenal achievement. It was a pity we couldn't go to the away days. We didn't get to see it really.
Yeah. But like I said, you said you walked the season last season. But now you're back in the Championship after a year out, and so far this how you been so far this season?
We started with a 4-1 win against Preston, and we thought, oh, here we go. We found our formula from last season. We're going to continue it on, and then it kind of went downhill from that point. We played well against QPR at home. We played really well and lost 3-0. It was like, well, we just missed a few chances and conceded a couple of unlucky goals. The momentum's still there, and then we just continued to lose, and it didn't really get any better. And it was like, oh, here we go. It was reminiscent of that run we had when we got relegated, and with it being McCann and the fans not being in the stadium, they couldn't really connect with the team, and they didn't really get a chance to connect with McCann because the last time we were in a stadium, we were watching us lose every week, and then everyone's come back after COVID and we're watching us lose every week again. So it was just Groundhog Day for us. Yeah. Carry on, mate.
No. I was just saying, you mentioned about like McCann, and so like I said, I think we had the same situation with Chris Hughton. Like it wasn't great, but are you happy like with McCann as a manager now? Because I know you've had problems with. Have you still got the same owner?
We have still got the alarms at the minute, but we are expecting a takeover to be finalised in the next week or two. So hopefully that horrid era is nearly at an end.
Okay, so are you happy with McCann then? Do you think he's the man to take you forward?
Do you know what? It's a weird one. Yeah. Like I said, the fans didn't really get any sort of opportunity to connect with him because we watched last season on iFollow. So we were in the stadium with the team. We've just been watching our team struggle under him all the time, and he's got he earned a bit of goodwill from winning the title. So the fans sort of had a bit more leniency for him this season. It's just his stubbornness, really. He plays a 4-3-3 system. It really wasn't. It worked last season in the level below, but in this league where we've got we're facing much higher caliber of opposition, we can't be allowing our wingers to stay up front and leaving our fullbacks so exposed kind of thing. And when you're a fan and you're watching your team lose, you want to see your manager change it up to try and obviously.
You know what? It reminds me of Chris Hughton.
Yeah, I was about to say. I imagine you had the same with Chris Hughton.
It's exactly the same as Chris Hughton. Forest fans, it's actually saying exactly the same as Chris Hughton because everything you're saying is Chris Hughton all over. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say it reminded me. Probably you were going to say the same about Hughton, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just his stubbornness, the stuff he says in the media. You know, like we could come out of it where we could lose 7 games in a row, and he'd come out and say, you know, we know that this system works. If we stick with it, it'll eventually click. And, you know, that kind of thing annoys the fan base even more. So, you know, a lot of fans were on his back. We've got a squad of players that really suits the 3 at the back system, and he just won't do it. And then he played 3-5-2 through necessity because of injury, and we won. And then the first chance he got, he went straight back to the 4-3-3, and we started losing again. So obviously, like, that's putting your head on the chopping block, innit? Because the fans have been asking for this system that we know will benefit us. We play it, win, and then he goes straight back to how he was, and we start losing again. And then it happened again. We got a couple of injuries to some fullbacks, and then he's played 3 at the back. But it's been lengthier injuries, so he's had to play it for longer, and we're now 6 unbeaten. So playing 3 at the back, we've not actually lost.
Okay.
But there's still a niggling little thing at the back of our heads that'll say when them players come back, he might go back to the 4-3-3. So it's a bit weird because obviously on current form, you can't really sack him. Like if a new owner came in, you know, you've won 4 games and drawn 2 of your last 6, only conceding like 4 goals or something. It is quite some turnaround. So it wouldn't really be a justifiable sacking. But if you took the beginning of the season as gospel, then he probably deserves to go. But it'll be interesting to see what he does when he gets a full squad of players back because, you know, now he's seen what can happen when he plays this system. It would be career suicide, I think, to go back to the old ways, but we'll see.
I'm talking about the players. Like I said, you mentioned you got a good few players. I mentioned like Tom Hudson, ex-Derby player. Now I've always rated him. But what players, like few players, have been stand out this season so far for Hull?
Yeah, funny you mentioned about Huddleston really, because he's not really featured this season. We've been really excited to sign because we had him in the Premier League. Obviously, he was once upon a time our record signing, and you know he left us and he went to Derby and he's come back. But he's been injured all the time. He's played like 3 or 4 games, and then he's not had a chance to come back in the squad because we're in such good form. But in terms of our key players at the minute. We've got a centre-back on loan from Man U called Deshaun Bernard, who is a phenomenal ball-carrying defender. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet. He's more than happy to run into enemy territory with the ball and have a crack from 30 yards. He's been absolutely brilliant. And considering he was only on loan at Salford in League 2 last season, the step up to the Championship, he's been amazing. He's definitely a player of the season contender for us at the minute. George Honeyman, key player last season.
Was he ex-Sunderland player?
Yes, we signed him from Sunderland.
Yeah, good player.
He was injured at the beginning of the season, and the team desperately missed him because he was our creative link last season. You know, 14 assists he got last season from midfield, which for a centre midfielder is very impressive, no matter what league it's in, really. And then like I said, we missed him at the beginning of the season, but he's back. He's fully fit, and he's got 4 goals in 6 games. He's been absolutely brilliant. I think he's gone our top scorer, actually. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I think he might be level with Keane Lewis Potter. And then that's another one. Keane Lewis Potter, the young lad from Hull himself, is layered in gold amongst the fan base. You know, we love him here. On his day, absolutely unplayable for any fullback. He's just a nightmare. All he wants to do is run at the fullback. He'll go either side. He's quite happy on either foot. He's got an eye for goal. He's more than happy to cross it in. He's just a handful. So he's another one to look out for. And then at the minute, a surprise package is Ryan Longman, who we've got on loan from Brighton. Okay. He didn't really get to feature at the beginning of the season because he had COVID and then he got injured and then he couldn't get into the team. But since we've moved to this 3 at the back system, he plays as a wing back, and him and Keane Lewis Potter switch sides quite a lot. So a lot of our attacking play comes from them two, who are just both young, exciting, want to run at the fullback kind of players, tricky wingers, like what you want to kind of see. And he's put in a couple of man of the match performances in the last few games and a couple of goals. So he'll be another one to look out for.
Like if you know this, and he's a whole fan. There's a couple of questions that you were at, but I'll give you the answers at the end. And as you know, like I always mention to my rival fans about Forest, and as you know, Steve Cooper as Nottingham Forest manager, he's been fantastic. And as a rival fan, what do you think of Forest so far?
Do you know what? At the beginning of the season, you looked dead set for relegation, and I thought you were going to be one of our contenders to be fighting down there with, which would have been quite poetic considering Derby are down there too. Yeah. But no, since Steve Cooper's come in, you've been phenomenal. I think you're top of the form chart for after 30 games or something. At 15 games, you got 30 points or something. Yeah. So the fact that he's taken you from the bottom 3 to the brink of the playoffs is phenomenal in itself, especially in the Championship, which is such a difficult league. But we all saw what kind of football he can play. He wants you to get the ball down, and your front 3 are very dangerous. So our young, inexperienced back 3 will probably be in for quite a tricky evening. So we're definitely worried, but hopefully the City Ground bogey team, which I hope that we can be again.
You know what? To be fair, I think, like I said, every time we play against you lot, you always beat us. But I think under Billy Davis, you beat us 1-0. I think it was Matt Fryatt. He scored. Yeah. And then
you were like 30-something games unbeaten at home, yes, I think, as well.
Yeah. Yes. And then I talked to Ant before this, and the beat us 2-1, and the people remember that it was Jaden Bowden and who was it again? Bowden and
Jarrod Bowen and Josh McGuinness, yeah.
That's it. The beaters 2-1. The whole battered us. Jared Bowden absolutely hammered us, and if I remember that game. But yeah, there's some people, if you want any questions, ask Ant, and there's a couple of questions for you, Ant. Where is it? And this is from Keys We Talk. And what's your thoughts on Keane Lewis Potter? Is he any good? You mentioned him, haven't you? Yeah,
he's a phenomenal player. He's one of them. We had Jarrod Bowen come up through the academy as well. Bowen would say himself that he thought Keane Lewis Potter was a better player than himself. He's still only young. He's got a few games at the Championship level when we got relegated under his belt, but he played all of last season. He got his season got curtailed because of like some contract issue where he got benched even though he was in good form, because if he played another game, his wages went up and we couldn't afford it, kind of thing. So we had to renegotiate a new deal, and he sort of halted for a bit, but then he finished strongly. He got 15 goals, and he's 19, 20-year-old last season, so he's still got bags of time to come. And then this season, he's just stepped it up and become our mainstay player. He is young, he's exciting, he's very confident in what he does. He wants to run at fullbacks. On his day, he'll be an absolute nightmare for any defence, and if we win, it's usually because he's played well. So if you keep him quiet, then you'll probably have a good day against us.
That's great. That's what we need. That's what we need. Another question from Bob, and I think this is related. Like, hold on, a good one, going on a lot tougher than we think. Honeyman is on fire, taking a scrappy 1-0 win. And like you mentioned, Honeyman, has he been good? He's more of a centre midfielder or like a winger player?
Yeah, so in last season we used him and Doherty in the same sort of role. So in the 4-3-3 we had sort of like a holding midfielder and then 2 box-to-boxers that would come back support and then go up and try and support the attack. This season, since we switched to the 3 at the back, we tend to have Doherty and Smallwood sat alongside each other in front of the back 3. And Honeyman sort of operates in the space between both wing backs in front of both the midfielders and just behind the forwards, which allows him, which has been phenomenal like the last month or so, to do some late runs into the box. Because obviously, like McGuinness will hold it up, the wing backs will get in behind, and then it stretches the defence. Then Honeyman sort of comes in, exploits that space. And he's been scoring a couple of poacher-like goals, and his set piece delivery is amazing. Not that we've benefited from it this season, because I think we've only scored from one set piece after being amazing last season with them. His set piece delivery is good. His late runs into the box are dangerous, and his ability to find space and link with the wingers cause defences a lot of problems, and he will be key if we're going to stay up this season.
One more question I'll give you, and this is from James. Where's the weakest link in your team, in your opinion, Ant?
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah.
I'll probably say the two forwards at the minute, McGuinness and Wilkes. Wilkes was our top.
He's gone past Forest, didn't he? So I wouldn't call him the weakest link.
They were both right. Malik Wilkes and Josh McGuinness were both phenomenal last season, and the role the system we played, they were perfect for it. This season, however, they've both kind of not got going. Especially Wilkes by his usual standards. He's supposed to be similar to Keane Lewis Potter in the sense that he's very attack minded. He wants to take his play. He's a bit of a flair player. He's a luxury player. He likes his skill. He wants to get him cause defense problems. But this season he seems to have bulked up a bit and changed his game. And what made him good last season is now become a distant memory, and he kind of keeps backing into defenders. His decision making is poor, and it's sort of been a shadow of what we're used to. So our two forwards at the minute aren't scoring. The goals are coming from midfield and our wing backs. So I kind of guess that they're being used to create space. But if you can keep them two out of the game and get Wilkes frustrated, then we're going to focus our attacks on the wing backs and probably try and drown us out that way. So. The front two at the minute definitely need to start pulling the weight goals wise.
Anthony, I think quite a few people like you because you're talking some sense. I like this guy. Actually, talk lots of sense. This guy probably the first Wave fan I've actually heard talk some sense. So you've got quite a lot of fans.
I'll take this.
As well, I'll talk about Anthony's got a podcast as well, but we'll talk about it right at the end. Anthony, two more questions. Like I said, you got promoted to the championship, but what was your prediction where Hull will finish? And right now, where do you think they'll finish? So, where do you think at the start of the season, where do you finish, and where do you think now?
I think. Do you know what? Before the season, if we hadn't have had the transfer embargo, and we could have signed probably some players that he really wanted to sign. We might have been able to push the top half, but we did have a transfer embargo and we could only sign freebies and loans, which means that they kind of signed squad players. Now, you see, I say that we made 9 signings under a transfer embargo, which is very bizarre. But our current starting 11 are pretty much the same as last year, which tells you that the signings we made weren't really improvements. So we're kind of having to fight our way through the season with a squad that we've had for the last year already. So I would have been happy definitely right now to stay. I'd take any position out of the bottom 3. On current form though, I think we can start to ask questions about mid-table, but we've still got McCann, so we'll wait and see. It's tough because we've got a takeover coming through, so we need to see what happens in January.
Aren't you unbeaten in 6 games?
We are unbeaten in 6 games.
So it's going to be a tough game. Oh, you're so. I don't know why. Like you're unbeaten 6. I don't.
It's because we're used to disappointment at the moment, so it's hard to be optimistic.
Tomorrow we defeat. Last but not least, like I said, people get comments in what you think your score predictions will be, and what do you think the score prediction will be tomorrow?
Right. So I said on our podcast on the preview, because everybody else said a draw or a win. I wanted to be the different one, and I said we'd lose 2-1. I just think Forest, in terms of your squad and your ambitions at the minute, you're a side that's going to be challenging the top 6, whereas we're going to be a team that's going to be in the lower echelons of the table. So realistically, it's going to be a tough day for us. On current form, however, we're both in form, so it'll be a boring 0-0, obviously.
No, I'll take that. But
I'd take a point. I would take a point from City Ground right now. I'd snap your hand off for it, yeah.
So Ant thinks he'll take a point. As everyone knows, I don't give my prediction till 1 minute past 2. So I don't give mine. But like I said, Anthony's got a podcast. Like I said, I will put the link as well. So Anthony, before we do go. Talk about people your podcast.
So we basically, I've got no experience in journalism. I've never done podcasting before. No.
I'm in your boat. Don't worry about it.
Nothing like this before. It's all totally when COVID happened. When I say when COVID happened, when it started,
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about going back to the stadium because I moved from Hull to Leeds to be with the wife. Yeah, I did the worst thing any Hull fan could ever do. But I moved from Hull to Leeds, and then I was actually contemplating coming back to getting a season pass at City, but then COVID happened and I couldn't. So me and my mate, a couple of us, we'd been thinking about doing a Yorkshire one, but it was just too much sort of organising to do and too many people involved, too many teams to cover that I didn't really know that much about. So me and my mates decided we'd make a Hull City one. We didn't think it'd catch. We thought we'd try it, probably fail. You know, our first episode was done where my co-host was sat in the car outside his house using his phone headphones. So that's how we began. We, you know, I've made our own graphics, the social media account we've sort of built from scratch, from the ground up. We started it in 2020, and it's gradually getting bigger. We've actually just confirmed to have Phil Brown, our ex-manager who got us promoted to the Premier League for the first time. We've got him as a guest on in January. Yeah, so we're getting to a point now where, you know, we've branched out to YouTube. We're on Spotify, Apple Music. We're getting there.
You're on YouTube as well. You're on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Right. What is it? You know what? Send me the link, and so people can watch. But like I said,
I'll send you the link. Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm just like before COVID started. I didn't do YouTube. I wasn't doing YouTube, like live YouTube channels. So I'm in your position as well. So it's fantastic what you're doing. It's great.
It just gives us an outlet to talk about football. I mean, especially for me, because I used to go to every home game, and I miss going into the pub and having the pre-match pint and burger and talking about City and how crap we usually are and whatever. And so doing the podcast sort of gives me a way to do that. And if people choose to listen to us, they choose to listen to us at the moment. They're choosing to do so. So you know what I mean? But we enjoy it. I mean, like you say, you must enjoy doing this, or you won't do it.
I love it.
We don't really want to put ourselves in a position where we're not enjoying it. So to talk about football, the sport that we all love, especially at a time where, you know, we lost it for so long because of an awful pandemic. You know, it gives us a sense of joy, a sense of purpose. So
you know what, I love that. Like I said, spot on what everything you just said. Like I said, we do it for fun, and like I said, there's 29 people in. That for me, 29 people, it's just great for me. But yeah, like I said, people, after the show, I will put Ant's link in below, so people go and subscribe to the channel when I do put the link. Anthony, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Are you going to the game tomorrow? Yes or no?
I'm not going to the game. I really wish I was. I love going to the City Ground. I've actually attended twice and seen us win both times, so I'm good that we're not going. We won the first time I ever went. We won. Paul McShane scored a handball to win 2-1.
That was clear handball.
I was there.
Was it in the Trent end?
Yeah. It was right in front of us. Yeah.
That was. I remember that game. That was really cool.
I remember that fondly because McShane never scored, and he was a cult hero with us, so we enjoyed that.
That's disgraceful. Well, like I said, people, I will put the link in, so make sure, like I said, you should subscribe to the channel. But like I said, I like to promote other podcasters, YouTube channels to make them grow as well. Like my channel. If you are new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button as well. But Anthony, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on. And let's go, people. I'll be at the ground tomorrow. I'll be there around 1 o'clock, 1:30. So if you want to get my vlog, you can do. But like I said, it's been a pleasure, Anthony. Thank you for
thank you. If you need me for the return fixture, just give us a bell.
Listen to me. After cut fire, you get a message saying unlucky, mate. Because I know, like I said, Hull are unbeaten at 6, and it's not going to be easy. And Hull are our burger side as well, so it's not going to be an easy game of Swansea. So people, it's going to be tough. But like I said, Anthony, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. So, like I said, people, if you're new to the channel, please do hit the subscribe button, if you're new, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. Peace.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, dude.